Hey, welcome back to another episode of It's a Football Thing. As always, I'm your host, RJ, and I'm joined by Scott the Gooner. Rob the Red Devil will be with us shortly, just checking a
I'm
few
having a
technical
man.
challenges.
No, it's my fault, boys. I forgot to send him the link. Borg's having a
All
man
good.
tonight, so just
That's
be ready
okay,
for it.
mate. No dramas. How are you, Scott, anyway? All good?
And I'm good. I'm good. Look, Freedom Day has come in Sydney. We've been in lockdown 4 months. So that's why I'm a little bit late tonight. It's my fault we're held up. I was visiting some family, which was nice.
Nice to hear.
But yeah, it's good. But Robbie should be here. I've finally sent him a link. That's on me. My fault.
Well, while we're waiting for Rob, let's acknowledge the great people in the chat. I can see a couple of happy faces. We've got Benny here. How are you, champion? My fellow Blues man. We got Shano in the house. Oh, I can imagine he will be one happy chappy. We might have to get on the Magpies wagon there, Shano. And we've got my good old pal, Legs Aruni. What a champion. Are we doing the usual EPL preview fix tonight? We're not going to do the preview because it's going to be very targeted tonight. It's going to be
Thursday
Balon
night.
d'Or. That's going to be Thursday. Tonight's going to be Balon d'Or focused. And also, let's talk about the elephant in the room, Newcastle. Welcome to the Newcastle age, as we like to say. And Georgie's here. G'day, George. How are you, champion? But before we get into that, Rob, how are you, man? You look at that haircut.
Fresh, mate. Fresh cut. Been waiting 4 months for it.
Beautiful.
You killed my life, Rob. How have you been? Because I was running late, so I was messaging the boys saying, I'm going to be late. Like, start without me if you have to. Poor Robbie's just been sitting there without a link and decides to tell me he had no link when we kicked off the show.
I've been here since 20 past. I've just been waiting.
I know. Where's the link? Where's the link? Should have said.
Oh, goodness gracious. God bless us. You can tell we had a week off. We've got to shake off the rust again, hey?
I hear you. But look, let's get into it. We've wasted enough time. The crowd's been waiting. The big topic, obviously, kicking off with the Balon d'Or candidates. The boys have had a bit of a chit chat on the actual group chat. And look, for me, I've been watching a lot of podcasts and streams on this because we missed out last year. There was no Balon d'Or. In our opinion, I think the boys all agree. Robert Lewandowski would have got it, hands down. No disagreements there. But it's back again, and the debate around who's going to win it this time is really heated up. So let's kick it off, boys. Robbie, I know you've shared me your thoughts, but why don't you tell the public what you're thinking, my man?
What am I thinking? I think that Jorginho should be getting the Balon d'Or this year. And
J5.
I know you're good, mate. Messi, I'm pretty sure you've got a good argument for him. But no, if I'm being all seriousness, I don't see why Messi should get it over Jorginho. If we're going to look at, okay, he's finally got the Copa America that he's had 400 chances at that they host every 2 years. Straight off the bat, I'm going to say that the Euros trumps at number one. I'm going to say number two, that even the Copa, it's kind of like a La Liga to me. It's nearly a 2 or 3 horse race, and there's not enough big nations for me, so it's not an elite competition or up to the standard for me, the same as the Euros with the quality of teams. Plus, a big thing, Jorginho was another big player in the race for Chelsea to go on and win the Champions League. And yes, Leo Messi got all his goals and top goal scorers. Fair enough. I'm not saying he's a great player. It's nothing like that. I just think that all on previous years, the players that have won these big major trophies have gone on and, kind of got the Ballon d'Ors come with it as a bit of a bonus. So with Jorginho's got the Super Cup, the Euros with Italy, who were, not the favourites to win as well, and the Champions League, the biggest trophy you can win in the club season. Why wouldn't it be a shoo-in for me? Or why wouldn't you have a better chance than Leo Messi? Yeah, why?
Can I tell you why?
Yeah.
Because he wasn't even Chelsea's player of the season, so his own club didn't recognise him as their best player last season. In the Champions League final and semi-finals, both legs, the man of the match was N'Golo Kante, who absolutely bossed that midfield. Mm-hmm. And in the Euros, he started like a house on fire. He was brilliant at the beginning. But he did kind of, in my opinion, I wouldn't say fizzled out in the sense that he played badly, but he just kind of blended in. He didn't, for me, stand out in Italy's final or some of their later knockout games. He was part of a squad, and Mancini built a real team.
Yeah, and he was a pivotal part of that midfield under Mancini,
to
mate.
me,
Without he was the anchor of the midfield, mate.
I don't see how he could be named as the Ballon d'Or winner, but not Chelsea Player of the Year, not Man of the Match in the Champions League. Like, I think, and I said this last night on Down Under Football Crew, I actually think what's harmed his chances massively is N'Golo Kante being so good in the Champions League final.
It's a good argument, Scott. And look, I was watching the Football Terrace earlier, and a content creator that I have a lot of respect for is a United fan, believe it or not. So I don't have too much respect for them. Just kidding. But Lies, you might have seen him. He's pretty prominent on YouTube, and they had this very same discussion. And he was coming from the camp of, I don't think Jorginho should win it for these reasons. And his reasons were, statistically speaking, he wasn't a man of the match in any of the knockout phases and wasn't a man of the match in any of the Euro games. But that's his logic, and I understand where he's coming from. And I understand that if you're going to be the best, because that's what Ballon d'Or is, right? It's the best player for that calendar year. It is calendar year, involving both individual influence as well as collective achievement. So he's definitely won the collective achievement, and he's definitely been a mainstay in both of those teams. My argument for him getting it is because his actual individual contributions, and I was looking up the stats from Sky Sports, in the Champions League, in his position, because he's a defensive midfielder in the pivot, for tackles and interceptions, tackles, ball recovery, successful presses, and distance covered, he was first and second in all of those categories. And in the Euro, for tackles, interceptions, ball recoveries, interceptions, the like, first and second again. So he might not be man of the matches in any of those games, but statistically speaking, in his position, he was ranked the highest in his position in both of those competitions. So, you know what I mean? That furthers his case that he's not just a quiet achiever, but he's statistically the most dominant in those key attributes of those.
Just quickly, but who's your name you're throwing in the hat for yourself? You obviously got someone you think.
Me or RJ?
No, but you first. I want to hear both.
For me, I think Lewandowski.
But why? What's Lewandowski done this season? Last year, yes. What's he done this season?
I'm happy to tell you if you want. I mean,
yeah.
What has
if you're going to give me
that
is pretty much a golden shoe winner, tell me everything else.
What Lewandowski did was 50 goals and 8 assists, 3 domestic cups. Sorry, they won the Club World Cup, which isn't a domestic cup, but they won the Bundesliga, they won the Super Cup. And as I said last night, I actually think Lewandowski is taxed because he's Polish. If Lewandowski is French or Spanish or Italian, he's being talked about a hell of a lot more. Jorginho was in a very, very good Italy squad. You boys know that better than anyone, how good that squad was. Look at the amount of Italian players that are on this list. Whereas for Lewandowski, people discredit him because of his international form, but there's no other Polish players on there. It's not like he's playing.
You're pretty much saying that the best goal scorer should win the Ballon d'Or. So it's pretty much a goal scoring competition for you.
Not necessarily, but I think when you factor in as well last year, I know people say it's only for this year, but his consistency at the top level, that consistency from him, people weren't talking about Jorginho before last season. It's not like, there's any consistency.
But it's a yearly award, but that's the thing. Like Lewandowski already said would have won it last year.
I still think Lewandowski's my man.
Lautaro Martinez would have to have rank in front of Lewandowski this year, right? Straight off the bat. So he's won with Inter, the Scudetto that knocked Juve off their perch after a decade, and he was in the Copa America team with Messi and another big player in that team and a good partnership with Messi. So he's won massive in Italy. He's won the title, like I said, beating Juve after 10 years. And he's also been in the same team that's won the Copa. But wouldn't those trump? And I'm sure I haven't got the stats. RJ probably more than me, but I'm pretty sure he had a fairly good, tally of goals in all competitions between the year as well. So why would
I don't think his tally was anywhere near the tally of Lewandowski. Robert.
Who's that? Who's that? Lukaku?
Martinez.
No,
Martinez. Yeah.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So you're just saying because he's got 50 goals, he should get it.
Mate, to score 50 goals is remarkable.
In the
That's GOAT status.
Bundesliga, but you're the one that caused all these other leagues.
You say Bundesliga like it's nothing, but Messi's gone to France, which is an even weaker league. And what's Messi doing in France at the moment?
I know that, but I'm not talking about Messi. I'm talking about
You can't
Lewandowski.
discredit a whole league like that because it's not the Premier League, but then turn around and use the Serie A as a counter argument. Like it's not like that was an awful Juve team last year. Awful.
No, all I'm trying to say is that you're just saying Lewandowski should win because it's got 50 goals and they've done the same thing that Bayern's done
And
for the
3
past
cups.
10 years.
50 goals.
They've done the same
3
thing for the
cups.
past 10 years.
So it's a yearly competition. Why does it matter that they've done it for 10 years?
What about, sorry, obviously I'm the Messi fanboy here in the room, although I still think Jorginho, if we're looking at it, just trying to be a little bit different. Here are some of the reasons why I think, and I still think he will win it just because I think it suits the narrative of him, being politically popular. But reasons why I think he's a genuine chance this year, more so than last time when he won it, to be fair. On top of his goals, which is not the only thing, 37 goals, 14 assists, the Copa America win, not just winning because you could be a squad member, because it's not just about your team winning, because Emerson would be a shout. He won the Euros, he won the Champions League. But it's not just about your trophies. He was the player of the tournament in the Copa America, top goals, assists, chance created. That's something. So he's the player of the tournament in winning the Copa America, was the La Liga's top scorer, and won all of the key attributes on a head-to-head versus Lewandowski in that, except for the goal contributions, because Leva was 8 more ahead of him. But when you factor in both his individual direct goal contributions on top of the fact he won La Liga's other awards, on top of Copa America Player of the Tournament, you can see how they can start to justify him winning it this year. I'm just putting that on the table.
Messi will get it.
No, but I think I think your argument for Jorginho unfortunately hurts his cause. I agree in the sense that he won UEFA's Player of the Year, which is huge, firstly. But secondly, the fact that he came third in the UEFA Champions League Midfielder of the Year doesn't bode his chance as well. Kante and De Bruyne beat him. So for me, there is a little bit of, is he being crowded out by his own teammate in Kante in that sense? But I just think he's such a unique player. It would be nice to see someone be recognised for the influence that they have on their team that extends beyond the natural statistics. That's all I'm saying. But 100%. I don't know.
I said this last night, and I said you would know exactly what I'm probably about to say, RJ. I actually think that this award is massively flawed. Because Amina, and welcome Amina, it's a new face having around. Nice to have you with us. Welcome to the crew.
Saw her the other day. She was in my chat with Pat.
Absolute champion and very active in the chat already. How is the winner selected? I think that's really important to me. I think it's become a massive popularity contest, and I can understand people making shouts to Jorginho. Let me put this on the table. Just because I think that Lewandowski should get it, I wouldn't be disappointed with Jorginho getting it. I've got a lot of love for the defensive side, but it tends to be a popularity contest. Goals tend to be the main stat, except when it's Thierry Henry versus Pavel Nedved.
Or Lampard in 2005.
Look at Modric, mate. Luka Modric was what, 2 years ago or last year? Or 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2018, wasn't it? Or 2019? Yeah.
Yeah,
you can't answer this question. You can't answer this question because they seem to do whatever they want and go on popularity. I would be making it like best striker award, best midfielder, best defender, best keeper. And I would just keep it separate because how can you go in and compare like Chiellini, who I think as well in the Euros was, to me, he was probably Italy's best besides Donnarumma. I thought he was immense, but how do you compare Chiellini and Jorginho and Lewandowski? It's just, I think they need to break the award up. I think
even Lukaku, Scott, like I know I'm talking as a Chelsea, but even a bit Inter, he was top goal scorer, top assists, won the Serie A, talking about players that massively influenced their team and were recognised on the world stage. Look at the rest of this list as well. There's some great names. Haaland had a blockbuster season. I just look at that. De Bruyne was so immense for Manchester City. Had they won the Champions League, Ruben Diaz, had Manchester City won the final, all of a sudden the Jorginho's comment gets scrapped and it's straight on De Bruyne and Diaz. That's who will be the favourites, no doubt about it.
Look, there's some good comments in the live chat. I just want to run through some of them. Declared saying they don't get it on simple individual stats. You need to be part of a team that's won something big and has influence. I agree with that. Dan's joining us watching from work. He said, give the Balon d'Or to Kante. And he's using this is what hurts Jorginho for me. The Kante is so brilliant, and he got man of the match in all those big clutch games. I agree with Dan here. Kante should be in with a shout. The problem for him is it just didn't happen in the French team. France had an awful Euros. George is saying, well, it's a prestigious award. It is subjective, which we're seeing here, and it shouldn't be used to rate and compare players. And Ben's making a shout for Jorginho. It's an overall football award. So there's plenty of shouts. And look, that's the beauty of a topic like this, that it's subjective, right? And it depends. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So it depends how you look at the game, what you're looking at. You two both being Italians, of course, there's going to be some slight bias towards Jorginho, being a Chelsea fan, but as well for me, as someone who doesn't enjoy seeing the Italian national team.
Hey, we were fair game, mate. We were fair game. Come on. None of that. Just give it to a Chelsea player.
I can be biased, but I'm honestly not. I'm honestly, if believe me or not, I'm not being biased. I had this argument with RJ. I'm not being biased. And look, if Robin Lewandowski gets it, I'm so happy because I was upset that he didn't get it last year. He got gypped, and I think he should nearly get it because they miraculously didn't want to have one last year. All I'm saying is, look, I know you guys also know I'm a Ronaldo fanboy. I just think Jorginho should get it over Messi. If Lewandowski comes first out of the three of them, fair enough. Even Kante.
Well, to me, it's not fixed. Because Messi's stats clearly support that he didn't get it as a sympathy. To win, to be the player of the tournament in an international major trophy, which we can debate Euros as tougher than Copper, but at the end of the day, he was still the player of the tournament and dominated all of the key statistics. And in club world, 51 goal contributions is massive, either way you look at it. So it wouldn't be a sympathy award, but I still agree. I still think it'd be nice to see someone different get it.
If Messi didn't win the Copper, would he have been in it still for you?
But would Jorginho been in it if he hadn't won the Champions League? Remember, Rob, he also missed a defining penalty in the Euro final. We almost lost because of that, and I won't forget that.
He also got the clutch one in the semi-final as well.
Yeah, but the rest of the teammates did it too. So the argument of Messi didn't win the Copper equally applies if Italy hadn't won the Euros. So same difference there.
But then the Champions League as well. That's what I mean. Like he has won them at the end of the day, and the Super Cup.
And Kante was man of the matches in them, but that's the problem.
If Kante had have stayed fit, if Kante had have been able to maintain his fitness,
if Pogba knew how to pull his weight, you mean he would have been in with a shout.
France have a better Euros. I think the dialogue shifts from Jorginho to Kante, and I feel like Jorginho for me, and as a Chelsea fan, RJ, you'd shed more light on this, but he seems to be a divisive figure even amongst your fans. Whereas I think with Kante, there's more of a leveled admiration for him. So I think if France are better in the Euros, say France win the Euros, I think it shifts to Kante then massively.
100%. If they won the Euros, you would have had to. He would have collected everything, and he would have plus all the accolades you just said of man of the match here and there and everywhere.
Shame Mbappe really let the team down in that one. But look, boys, let's move on. Let's talk Newcastle, and then a couple of quick.
Our new club, by the way.
100%. I know. But look, let's just finish with this comment from the Blue Lounge. Welcome.
Hey,
on achievements and trophies, Jorginho's ahead of everyone on that list. Look, 100%. And it's hard to argue. Like I said, I wouldn't be upset if he won it. I just don't. I see Kante as the biggest stumbling block for him. But Shano, I know he was here earlier. I don't know if he's still here, but Shane's here. He would probably be the happiest man in the world. Newcastle Takeover is officially done. Boys, what are your thoughts? Robbie, are you nervous?
No, I'm not at all, to be honest. to be honest, it's not really affecting me in any kind of way. For me, to be
Yet.
honest, yet I reckon we've got 5 to 10 years before I think we're going to feel any effectiveness of this. If I'm being honest,
Okay.
look, I'm happy for the Newcastle people. I've got no grudge against them. I'm sure all three of all, we've already got quite rich ones, but I'm sure if someone could truly in there comes in and wanted to buy one of our clubs and was going to splash the cash, I'm sure no one would argue that, like I said, if I was a Newcastle fan, and I had someone like Mike Ashley, I'm sure that I think they're celebrating more that he's gone more than they've got taken over by billionaires, to be honest. But look, man, I think I see both sides of the story for this. I'm going to look at the positive first. I've got a couple of Newcastle mates, and the first thing they've actually said is they're actually hoping for the community that these guys kind of continue the same as what like Manchester City and the Sheik done there. Because for that whole community, a lot of different facilities have upgraded everything, not just for the football club, but in the whole community. So I think for Newcastle, especially being a one city club, I think the community is pretty happy and they're hoping anyway that these guys come in and pump a lot of money into both the community and the football club. I do think this is going to be a slow burner. I'm sure that they're not going to come in January and start spending.
You think so, Robbie? You think?
Yeah.
I was hearing them talk sport. They've got apparently Jason Cundy and the like were saying they've got around 200 odd million because of the cumulative financial. You know how to financial fair play. They've got all this extra money to spend, and given their precarious situation, can you imagine the embarrassment if they were to get relegated? So I think they're going to have to pull the trigger a lot in January to avoid that. To
definitely,
be honest.
but 200 million in this day and age, we all know can get you up 4 class.
Harry Kane.
4 okay players or maybe one or two world-class players.
You chuck 2 world-class players into any squad and they're significantly better. Look, Shano, I might take you up on this offer, mate. We've currently got the Premier League Manager of the Month. So I'm just going to chill on this for a bit, but give me a couple of months and I might get back to you, champion, on that. Looking at that list, though, I know, Robbie, you think it's going to be a slow burn, but I look at that list that's up on the screen. I look at, PSG with 220 billion, and we've seen how they've gone and spent and transformed. 320 billion. That's
you can't use that straight away.
Though, Robbie. These guys can, because they've got pretty much 3 years, the way I understand it, they've got 3 years to kind of do whatever the hell they want with the financial fair play regulations because of how Newcastle have accumulated over the season. So they can come in, and I think they're going to be very much aware of that and try and make their mark quick. I wouldn't be sure. I think their first kind of signings are going to be not your top-tier world-class players, but I think they're going to go for some guys.
And I'm keen to see what the live chat thinks. If you were in the Newcastle position, knowing where they are on the ladder and knowing what they can realistically work with, because I think they are pursuing a new manager imminently, from what I understand, who would be the player you think that they're going to focus on bringing in January? I'm keen to see what the live chat thinks, and I think we should give our 2 cents on that, because I'm with you, Scott. I don't think it'll be marquee at the very early stages, but some significant upgrades.
Yeah, 100%. So Shane, we should have got Shano on tonight with us, but I know he had his cans out for the celebration, so I don't know if he'd be in a state to join us. But I do think these guys are going to make a mark. Now, I've seen a lot of fans of big clubs, Chelsea, City, United, Arsenal, coming out, really against this and speaking about the human rights issues associated with their owners. For me, I know it's hard to go down those lines. Now, behind all these clubs are some very wealthy businessmen and women who have potentially done some things that have been harmful or maybe not entirely clean. But when I look at this decision, I'm stepping back from the human rights issues and things like that because I don't know enough about it. And quite frankly, I'm speaking purely about the football club. Have I cut out there, or is my audio still going?
No, your audio is still going.
Yeah, sorry, I've frozen my screen. I'm looking purely at the club. And I think this is good for the league because there are more big fish. I don't think fans of other big clubs have any right to complain. Any right to complain. Chelsea have a lot of success. They had success before Abramovich, but he came in and made them a massive threat. Arsenal have an owner in the top 10, and we've just been the Premier League's highest spenders. United have been paying stupid wages to players for years. City have done what they've done. Like none of these big teams can complain. And the fact that clubs like Arsenal and City and Spurs apparently have gone to the Premier League complaining about this and wanting a meeting is ridiculous when we tried to break off and join our own Super League not so long ago. So to me, I think fair play to Newcastle, fair play to their fans, and there's another big fish in the tank now, and we have to adapt. That's my view. What do you think, RJ?
Yes, it is. It's horses for courses, isn't it? In the sense that they have gone through an assessment process and they've gotten their license. You know, they've been given the green light. They sorted out their piracy issues that were reported to hold them back. And the reality of the situation is they're here to play now, and everybody's got to adjust because Chelsea disrupted the model. City's come in. United have got mega dollars being a global fan club, and we know what Arsenal can do if their owners invest a little bit of money. But for me, I won't lie. Of course, it's nervous to know what they're going to do because they're going to come in with a bang. I don't think it's necessarily going to be a super slow burner. I don't think they're going to go and buy the FIFA Ultimate Team anytime soon, but it starts in January. It'll be a couple of gun players that they will bring in because they need to avoid the drop, so that needs to happen. I'm most interested to see which manager they bring in to help guide them through this difficult period, because that's obviously an uphill battle. But a few players, you know, the ones that they were naming on TalkSport, you look at some names like your Zahas of the world or your Jesse Lingards. You look at all these different players. Antonio Rudiger, they're speaking about because he's coming off contract in Chelsea, and could he be looking for a mega payday? So
100%.
So when you've got no financial obstacle, like I say no obstacle, but they've got a lot of flexibility, and there's players that are looking for opportunities because it's just not working out for wherever they are. There's no way there's no reason why they can't bring in someone like a Coutinho in. Like, you know what I mean? These are the players. Nobody's off the table. Yes, the big elite players want to play in the Champions League, but all it takes is one or two decent players to come in to sell the project. Let's put it this way. If someone offered you, do you want to go to Tottenham or do you want to go to Newcastle? Draw your own conclusion based on where do you think the most sunny project's looking. So I don't know, man. To be honest, I'd be very excited if I was a Toon fan, but it's just get through this period. These next 3 months are going to be crucial.
Robbie, RJ just threw out some names there. Coutinho, there are a few others.
Lingard.
Lingard. I remember when City came to their money, they were signing players like Adebayor, Samir Nasri, all of those kind of guys.
Yeah.
Are there any names that jump into your mind realistically that you think they might chase in January or at the end of the year?
Yeah, I think Newcastle United will actually come to us and quite look for a few players. I think Anthony Martial, he could actually be. He's been rumored linked at the moment, but from what I've seen with Romano, there's been like every day there's been a new link in, and he's come out with quite a few of them and said no, it's not happening, like your Icardis and a few others. But you know, Martial, no one's been said no to that. I could say that if he's not getting game time, and he would fit the French international, Premier League proven player, and like I said, he's not that elite, but he's still a very, very good player, and everyone wants to see an attacker or a striker. Again, you said Lingard. I actually thought a fair shout was Tom from the podcast said the other night. He reckons Dean Henderson, our second goalkeeper, could be in for a big shout there. He's not getting the game or minutes there. He could be an English goalkeeper at Newcastle. He's still a very good. He had a very good season with Sheffield, and he's a very good goalkeeper. He's in with a fair shout. But I'm sure there's a long list.
Stevie Bruce? Is Steve Bruce done now? Stevie Bruce.
Yeah, he's gone.
It's not official, is it?
No,
No, but all the talks and all the betting markets are basically shorting it.
100%.
So.
I think that's going to be their biggest market on whoever they bring in as a manager. And, today I've actually heard a lot of people saying someone like an ex-player like your Lampard or Gerrard, they've said that float around.
10 to 1, apparently. 10 to 1 for both of them.
I don't see Conte coming in. Like, his name's been floating around, but would you see Conte going to a project like that?
Yep.
Not now. Not right now. Not when they're in a relegation fight. I wouldn't be surprised if they went for someone like a Graham Potter or a Brendan Rodgers. I would not honestly be surprised at all.
But if you're a Brendan Rodgers, would you leave a Leicester right now to go to a Newcastle?
Yeah, you might have hit your ceiling. So what could happen is a Brendan Rodgers could go there, and someone like a Graham Potter could go to Leicester. There's a bit of a domino effect.
Yeah,
but
I'm curious. I'm curious about the whole project, and like I said, I'm not worried about it, but I'm very curious. And for the Newcastle people, I'm happy for them. Well done. They got the biggest thing is they got Mike Ashley out. They got money in, and like I said, I'm definitely not envious of it because if someone else was going to throw billions and billions of dollars pumping into United more, then I'm not going to say no to that.
Check this comment from Georgie. I do like this. No way Conte would live in the Northeast, especially if he's seen an episode of Geordie Shore.
I dare say he hasn't watched an episode of Geordie Shore.
Yeah, look, boys, it's been a good chat on those two things. We have had some international football as well. Obviously, for me, as a supporter of the French national team, I've got a Parisian-born grandmother. It was nice. It was nice for me to see them win something because I was so disappointed in their performance in the Euros. I felt they really underwhelmed. But they really kicked it up in this final. I thought they performed well. They did what France do. They generally will start poorly, and I've said that on this show 1,000 times. But then they kicked in. Karim Benzema, again, I was critical of him in the Euros, but he scored a FIFA 22 special. He's been playing very well. Mbappe looked more dangerous. I was really happy with how the team performed. And to me, people might say the Nations League isn't a serious trophy, but you know what? It is now. It is because you could see that the teams wanted it. I also wanted to chuck out my thoughts on Belgium. I think now Belgium have secured a title of biggest pretenders / what if. They've sat in that number one ranking for all these years. We've heard about how Belgium are favourites for a tournament or how they're going to be right up there. And they have underwhelmed for the last 10 years. I think Roberto Martinez has to go. And I think it's been a wasted generation, to be honest. RJ, what are your thoughts on those points?
Yeah, they have been underwhelming, haven't they? I understand De Bruyne is trying to sugarcoat it and say, oh, well, we're a small country. Look how far we've come. But you've come that far because you're a bunch of superstar players and you should be doing better. So I understand what he's saying, but it's also about not accepting responsibility for what it is and just admitting that they have failed to achieve the big dance at this stage, it seems. You never know. They might still have one more chase in the tank to get it in the World Cup or whatever. But for now, as it stands, they just continue to be the bridesmaid and don't quite make it to the big dance. But in terms of France, credit to them. Obviously, the second they're winning was a very controversial way of winning it. It was offside. The guy played at it, but what can you do? The rules are the rules, and each to their own. But for me,
gracious, mate, for once.
Be gracious. Italy won their last game. We beat the world number one team.
Didn't Giroud score like one of the Champions League goals against Atletico in the exact same rule like that last year when he scored
he wasn't running onto a ball like that. It came off to Atletico, who kicked it into him, and he happened to just bicycle into the goal.
Oh, that's convenient.
And we won the two-legged tie. He won the two. We won the two-legged tie.
I've got no issue with it. I think that's the rule. Play on,
Yeah, but the guy's run. He's run from an offside position. Of course, he's going to play at the ball. He's behind him. And how is he going to know he's not offside? Of course, he's going to play at the ball.
Forget about him, mate. What are your thoughts?
You just don't like Spain, bro. I know you don't like Spain. That's why he's happy.
He's just bitter because they got third place. Because Italy are in third. I know you're a little more gracious, Robbie. Go on, mate.
Oh, look, I'm happy. Like, I wanted anyone out of the four teams. The only one I didn't want to win was Spain, especially after beating us. You know me, I'm not a Spain fan at all. I would have been happy for, like I said, any of the other three to win. But I think all three games or all four games over the weekend, I think were top class games. Man, you could nearly say they were Euro or World Cup quality games. There was drama, there was goals, there was comebacks, there was everything. But look, I think Pogba, I'm going to definitely have a shout for Pogba because I thought he was one of the best players on the pitch, along with that midfielder Tuchunemi, I think it is, if I'm saying his name right. Mate,
Chouameni, he's good.
Those two in the midfield, mate, they absolutely bossed them. It was great to see. I thought France were going to be down and out in the semi-final from 2-0 behind against Belgium, and then, in the second half they just turned them up. And like you said, both games they just big turnaround. You were saying about Mbappe, I actually agree with the officials saying that I think he was one of the worst players on the pitch, but credit to Deschamps for keeping him on there because he come up clutch and scored the winner at the end. And it's just like a couple of weeks ago with Ronaldo.
Sometimes you just need one moment. You
100%.
just need to step
and you don't even have to be on side. That's the best part. You just got to be in there. Who cares?
Look, what I will say, they deserve it. And like I said, I'm glad that they're given the respect for this Nations League because I was the first one to say that, people are like, oh, yeah, it's a Tim Pot Cup. It's a new official UEFA tournament and competition and trophy. And you could see that all four teams wanted to win it and played full squads and played proper teams to try and push for that. So, yeah, I will quickly say watch out for Spain next year in the World Cup because they are starting to rebuild a nice young squad, with a good coach there. And, they've done decent. They've done quite good in the Euros and another good performance over the weekend in the Nations League finals. Watch out for them next year at the World Cup, I reckon.
Definitely. Boys, I know that the Australia-Japan games just kicked off and a lot of our friends
come on, Socceroos, come on.
Big game against the Blue Samurai.
Please, though, if you are jumping out, please make sure you hit that like button on the way out. Even if you can come back tomorrow, leave a comment on the video. It helps get this content seen, and we are trying to build those subscribers up. So thank you to all the new people in the chat. Amina, particularly you. I've seen how active you've been in the live chat, so welcome. Dan, I can see you've just jumped in. You're doing great work with Sideline Talk and Rivalry Side. Keep that up. And to the usual guys, George declared, we appreciate you guys. A quick update before we end. The It's a Football Thing Pro Clubs team has been promoted. We are no longer in the bottom division. Rob and I have been carrying declared with some of our other friends, but we've gone up a division. So we'll keep you posted on that. If anyone wants to join in, wants to play some pro clubs with us, just send me a DM on Twitter or send a DM or email to any of our social media and we'll get back to you. Any final words, RJ?
What's pro clubs? I don't know what you're talking about, mate. I just watched the football. I played a football. I analysed the football. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Scott, I hope you're taking the whole Judas label away, mate. I think I've done my bit. I've scored our first goal. I've got our first point. Leading the line. I'm servicing Declared. He can't finish his breakfast up front.
Yeah, Declared couldn't finish a breakfast. Hopeless.
But we're doing good. We're on the charge.
Yeah. No, all good. Look, and for me, it's been nice to come back after a break. We will be here again on Thursday night, previewing the upcoming Premier League action. Thank God it's back. Everyone, take care. Have a good night. Stay safe. See you later.